It is 90 seconds to midnight. Yes, according to these people gathered around a slice of a clock in the middle of the day on Tuesday, it is 90 seconds to midnight right now. So what does that mean? It's time for last call, time to stop doom scrolling, or the blood moon is about to rise again? Actually, it's kind of a combination of final calls, doom, and blood. Because this isn't some fun Ryan Seacrest countdown featuring Jelly Roll and Megan Thee Stallion. It's a countdown to global catastrophe.
Last year, we expressed amplified concern by moving the clock to 90 seconds to midnight, the closest to global catastrophe it has ever been. Today, we once again set the Doomsday Clock to express a continuing and unprecedented level of risk. It is 90 seconds to midnight.
Yeah. 90 seconds. I wouldn't bother starting that 6-minute egg. Okay, so what exactly is this clock, and why are we 3 Jared Leto bands away from global catastrophe? Well, first off, that woman we just heard from is the head of the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, a nonprofit group created by a bunch of scientists in the wake of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Tom Conti and Cillian Murphy themselves, or at least their real-life historical counterparts, were among the original contributors to this publication. And in 1947, our fair clock here was introduced when it was believed that the USA and the USSR were destined for a nuclear arms race. The idea behind the clock was that we didn't have much time to get nuclear weapons under control, and according to their website's FAQ section, the original clock was set at 7 minutes to midnight by an artist who was married to a Manhattan Project physicist because, she said, it looked good to my eye. The clock first moved to 3 minutes to midnight after the USSR successfully tested out an atomic bomb, and over the decades, many have looked on in awe as the clock has moved both forwards and backwards as the world faced many challenges and triumphs. Last year, the clock was set to 90 seconds to midnight, and right now, as 2024 kicks off, the clock remains unchanged. Whew, okay, maybe I can start that egg. But that doesn't mean these scientists think we're any closer to averting a crisis.
In 2023, trends continue to point ominously towards global catastrophe. The war in Ukraine poses an ever-present risk of nuclear escalation, and the October 7 attack in Israel and war in Gaza provides further illustration of the horrors of modern war, even without nuclear escalation.
Now, it's not just everything that's unfolding right now in Ukraine and the Middle East. This professor from Princeton University notes things might be getting more dangerous when it comes to nuclear weapons.
Many weapon states are currently pursuing extensive modernization and expansion programs that will really, for the first time since the end of the Cold War, and essentially providing the infrastructure that could last until 2100. China is increasing its nuclear arsenal, now standing at 500 nuclear weapons. And for the first time, at least in my adult life, there's now talk in Washington that the US nuclear arsenal will have to increase also in order to match the arsenals of Russia and China combined. So in many ways, we're setting ourselves up for a three-way arms race, which is unprecedented and quite concerning.
The executive director of the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense worries about biological threats.
I think we need to pay much more attention to what's going on with bio. We should not, any of us, be in a position where we're waking up one day and we're suddenly surprised that some disease started in some country and has made it to our borders.
And this research scholar for cybersecurity at Stanford University worries about artificial intelligence.
AI has lots of potential for magnifying corruption in the information environment and making the disinformation problem worse. And that's really bad because the threat multiplier effect means that we're not going to be able to solve other hard problems like nuclear war and climate change. And so that's really tough.
Oh, and then there's climate change, which leading scientists around the globe think is bad. Okay, so is this doomsday clock literally just all doom and gloom? Just a nice way of stating that we're slow walking towards disaster, wrapped up in a surprisingly timeless graphic design? Not necessarily. The Bulletin says these threats should motivate us to learn about dangerous things that could destroy our way of life, and we should share and talk about these things with our friends and our family and our neighbors. And as noted by Bill Nye the Science Guy, who is also there to stare at a partial clock, there is something specific we can all do to make sure we don't end up in this really bad stock footage.
Vote. If nothing else, take the environment into account when you vote. You can hate me, you can hate all of us, people of my ancestry and upbringing, you can hate me, fine, knock yourselves out. But the world's climate is changing because of human activity.
And if it is true, and our time on Earth truly has been reduced to mere seconds, please cherish the time you have remaining and use it to subscribe to @TheNewsRefresh on YouTube for more uplifting content.